Have you ever wondered how a tiny spider can spin a web strong enough to catch its dinner? Or how a silkworm can wrap itself in a single, unbroken thread nearly a kilometer long? Well, it's all thanks to one of nature's most incredible materials, silk. At its core, silk is simply a natural protein fiber produced by certain insects produced by arachnids. For thousands of years, humans have been captivated by the shimmering threads of the silkworm, woven into luxurious fabrics that defined empires and connected cultures. We have learned to harvest this material, turning the humble cocoon of a moth larva into a symbol of elegance, a symbol of sophistication. Now, consider this. That silken thread, so soft to the touch, is also a powerhouse of material science. Scientists and engineers are looking beyond the loom and into the laboratory, exploring the hidden strengths of these protein-based filaments. They are discovering that silk, particularly the kind spun by spiders, possesses toughness, flexibility, and lightness that rivals some advanced synthetic materials. This realization has sparked a technological revolution. We are learning to mimic, to harvest, and to genetically engineer these natural wonders for applications that stretch far beyond clothing, medicine, aerospace engineering, promising to solve some of our most complex challenges. When we talk about silk, most people immediately think of silkworm silk, specifically the larva of the mulberry moth, Bombyx mori. This is the silk of history, the thread that built the Silk Road, gracing fashion for millennia. Silkworm silk is made of two proteins, fibron, the core structural protein that provides strength, sericin, the gummy outer layer that holds the cocoon together. Key properties: beautiful luster, smooth texture, impressive tensile strength for such a fine fiber. However, it is not particularly stretchy. Its true superpower lies in its domesticability. Humans have farmed silkworms for over 5,000 years. In the other corner, spider silk. A single spider can make up to 7 types of silk. Dragline silk, the web's frame and lifeline, renowned for strength. Capture spiral silk, sticky and incredibly stretchy to absorb prey. Impact other silks, for wrapping eggs and building shelters. The most studied of these, dragline silk, is the stuff of legends. Ounce for ounce, it can be 5 times stronger than steel, 3 times tougher than Kevlar, and it can stretch up to 40% of its length without breaking. The fundamental difference comes down to molecular architecture and purpose. The process of obtaining silk from silkworms is a classic example of ancient agriculture refined over centuries. It is a well-established, large-scale industry. The journey begins with the careful cultivation of silkworms. They are fed a strict diet of fresh mulberry leaves. After molting several times, the caterpillar enters its pupal stage. It spins its cocoon, rotating its body in a figure-8 motion. While doing so, it extrudes a single continuous strand of silk filament. To harvest this thread, the cocoons are typically boiled or steamed. This crucial step serves 2 purposes. It unfortunately kills the pupa to prevent it breaking the filament. It also softens the gummy sericin that binds the cocoon. Once the sericin is softened, the delicate work of reeling begins. Workers find the filament end and carefully unwind it. A single filament is too fine for most uses, so threads from several cocoons are reeled together. Typically anywhere from 5 to 10 cocoons at once. This makes a single, stronger, more uniform thread of raw silk. The thread can then be twisted to form yarn, called throwing. The silk is cleaned. Sometimes it undergoes a final degumming to remove remaining sericin. That enhances softness and luster. Then it's ready for dyeing and weaving into luxurious fabrics. Extracting silk from spiders is an entirely different, much more complicated challenge, which is why you can't just buy a spider silk shirt. The primary obstacle is the spiders themselves. They are territorial. They are cannibalistic. That makes farming them in dense populations impossible. The traditional method, forced silking, involves carefully restraining a spider, then gently pulling the dragline silk from its spinnerets, and winding it onto a spool. This yields the highest quality authentic spider silk for research. But it's incredibly slow and labor-intensive. producing only microscopic amounts of fiber at a time, so it's not viable for commercial-scale production. Once scientists have a silk fiber, whether it's reeled from a cocoon or spun in a lab, they need to understand exactly what it can do. This is where material testing comes in, a series of rigorous experiments designed to measure the fiber's fundamental properties. The most common and important of these is the tensile test. In this procedure, a single fiber is carefully clamped into a machine that slowly pulls it from both ends. A sensor precisely measures the amount of force required to stretch the fiber and how much it elongates before it finally snaps. This test gives us critical data points: ultimate tensile strength, Young's modulus, elongation at break. The results from these tests paint a clear picture of the two silks' distinct advantages. Silkworm silk consistently demonstrates high strength, but its elongation is typically low, usually under 20%. Spider dragline silk, by contrast, showcases a remarkable combination of properties. Its absolute strength is comparable to, or even greater than, silkworm silk. Its elongation can exceed 30%, and sometimes even 40%. The true magic is revealed when scientists calculate toughness, the total energy a material can absorb before fracturing. Beyond just pulling them apart, researchers also study how silks behave under different conditions. They use techniques like thermal analysis to see how the fibers respond to heat, determining their melting points and thermal stability. They also examine how silks interact with water, as moisture can affect their mechanical properties. Using powerful tools like scanning electron microscopy, or SEM, scientists can visualize the surface of the fibers at thousands of times magnification. SM reveals smooth cylindrical structure or any surface defects. X-ray diffraction peers inside the fiber, revealing protein arrangement and crystalline versus amorphous regions. These tests are not just academic exercises, they provide the essential data needed to match a silk to a real-world application. For example, the high strength and biocompatibility of both silks, confirmed through cell culture tests, make them excellent candidates for medical sutures. The incredible toughness of spider silk, quantified in tensile tests, points directly to its potential use in bulletproof vests. Protective gear. The smooth surface of silkworm silk, seen under the microscope, explains why it feels so luxurious against the skin. By systematically breaking down and measuring every aspect of these fibers, we move from admiring nature to engineering with it. While silk fibers are impressive on their own, their true transformative potential is often unlocked when they are combined with other materials to form composites. A composite material is like a team where each member brings a unique skill. By working together, they achieve something far greater than any individual could. In this context, silk fibers act as a reinforcing agent, lending their remarkable strength and toughness to a bulk material known as a matrix, which is typically a polymer, or a metal, or a ceramic. This partnership creates a hybrid material with a customized set of properties, designed for a specific, demanding job. One of the most common ways to use silk in composites is as a fiber reinforcement in a polymer matrix. Imagine mixing chopped silk fibers or laying down a woven mat of silk fabric into a liquid resin, like an epoxy. Once the resin hardens, the silk fibers act like a hidden skeleton within the plastic. When the composite is bent or struck, the force is transferred from the weaker plastic matrix to the incredibly strong silk fibers. These fibers resist stretching and breaking, dramatically increasing the overall strength and fracture resistance of the material. This is the same principle used in fiberglass or carbon fiber, but with silk offering the added benefit of being lightweight, flexible, and biodegradable. Another sophisticated application involves using silk not as a bulk reinforcement, but as a delicate yet powerful coating or interface layer. For instance, a thin, precisely controlled layer of silk protein can be used to coat a medical implant made of titanium. The metal provides the rigid structural support, but the silk coating acts as a biocompatible handshake with the human body. It encourages the patient's own cells to attach and grow onto the implant, promoting faster healing and better integration while reducing the risk of rejection. The design of these composites can be incredibly intricate. Picture a diagram of a next-generation protective material. It might show alternating layers of a hard ceramic, a flexible polymer, and a woven mat of spider-like silk. The ceramic layer provides initial resistance to penetration. The silk layer underneath absorbs and dissipates the shockwave of an impact through its unique stretching ability. And the polymer layer binds everything together. This layered, or laminar, composite mimics natural structures like mother of pearl, creating a material that is both hard and incredibly tough. It is through these clever combinations that we can fully harness silk's power to build lighter helmets, safer vehicles, and more resilient electronics. Silk's next leap isn't fashion, it's manufacturing at scale. The roadblock has always been production. Spiders don't farm well. Biotechnology changes that. Recombinant, spider-like silk proteins in big bioreactors. Pure, repeatable, affordable. With reliable supply, silk moves from lab curiosity to industrial material, and costs drop. What does that unlock? Stronger, lighter sports gear that damps vibration, frames and rackets. In vehicles and aerospace, silk-reinforced panels cut weight and boost toughness and crash protection. Medicine may benefit most. Dissolvable silk electronics that monitor healing, then safely disappear. Intricate 3D printed silk scaffolds guide cells to rebuild tissues. Silk matrices release drugs slowly, delivering therapy exactly where it's needed. Together, biology and engineering are weaving a practical future, lighter, safer, healthier. The age of advanced silk is just beginning.